December 17th, 2025 meeting of the School Building Committee. The first item on the agenda is selection of minutes recorder / administrative matters person. And I put that on the agenda because we really have two pathways that we could go down. And I've been on committees that did it each way. One way was to have the owner's project manager taking the minutes, and the other way was to have an independent individual. In this case, it was Melissa who took us through eligibility period into feasibility. My suggestion is we stick with Melissa because James gets to do his job and isn't, bothered, if you will, or doesn't have the tedium of putting the minutes together. Additionally, Melissa is in the town every day, in the school department where all the records are. So any discussion or a motion, whatever?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we leave the system the way it is and leave Melissa as the minute taker and the recorder for the school building committee.
Any second?
Second.
I'll second. Any discussion? And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous, and you don't get to go home now. Okay, second item is the approval of meeting minutes of October 8th, 2025. They were distributed. I know they were on bid docs. They may have also gone out under separate email. Anybody have any discussion regarding it? That I'm looking for a motion.
Motion.
Chris Wilson, second. Josh Otland. No other discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And
I abstain.
Calagione abstains. Veringer abstains. Torres abstains. And Agajanian.
I
So
abstain.
there's 4 abstentions. They weren't here. Okay.
You can still vote on minutes, though, if you're not
What?
here. You can still vote on minutes, though, if you're
Yes.
not here.
Yes.
So just be
It's
careful.
administrative, it's
You can,
not, you
yeah.
can still vote.
Well, if you weren't here, I'm not sure how you would know.
You can watch the video screens.
It's an administrative.
But, okay. We have warrants, 2 warrants and a timesheet. The timesheet for Melissa is in the amount of $307.40. Any discussion? Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Agajanian, second by Korea. All those in favor? Aye, that is unanimous. I'll send it that way. We have a warrant on number 8, and it's in the amount of $164.82. That was for advertising. Any discussion on that? So motion? Michael Walsh, second. Joe Calagione. All those in favor? Aye, that is unanimous. And a warrant in the amount, number 9, in the amount of $22,572.78, and that is for Next Level OPM Services. Any discussion on that? Then looking for a motion.
So moved.
Agajanian, second. Wilson, all those in favor? And that is also unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the owner's project manager update. And James will take us through 3 topics according to the agenda: budget review, online platform utilization, and the designer selection procurement update and the next steps.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you again. It's been a while. As we just did the invoices and the warrants, just wanted to show you something that I track in the background and let you walk, and I'll walk you through that. The MSBA is, as you know, is a reimbursement program, and they actually get to the point of where we set up budgets according to their template. So they have things called and we submit our. You guys pay the bills like you did tonight. We submit those bills to them with the warrant number and the warrant date, and then 3 weeks later, they will cut you a check back of your eligible reimbursement items. Now, in this case, this would be all of the items on there. The ProPay system, you see on the side there's a ProPay code, those 8 digits, 001. So, that's what we follow. That's where I make sure every cost that comes in, it's meeting one of those buckets. You got the OPM bucket, the designer's bucket, which will be we treat that as like their base contract. We use environmental on site, it's kind of like their reimbursables. Those unknown allowances, that's how we break that out. And then other is everything else. So the advertisement, invoices that you just paid, that goes there. And so that's what you're seeing there. Your total project budget, this is what we agreed with the MSBA, this is what we submitted to them, this is what you have, and that's the breakdown of it, and so this is in their system. If there's any changes, if we need to move money around, that's what would go in the second column, and then in the revised. Balance uncommitted at this point, for example, that's just letting you know, total committed, balance uncommitted, what's available and what isn't, and what's already committed. And then, actual spent to date, and then whatever's remaining. So, any questions on that? Pretty straightforward?
Super quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, so like the reimbursement's a percentage, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so does this track that?
it can.
Okay,
The
I was
only
just
thing
curious.
is, it's, I will say, it's a forecast, the MSBA always reserves right to,
Yeah.
so it's my best guess, but then when we get back, it'll give you an idea, and I can
Thank you.
throw that on there as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
That's on the website, that's on the,
This is not, but it can be. It will be in the sense that this presentation will not live with the meeting minutes from this meeting. It'll all be in the presentation packet. So,
okay, and it can't really get updated unless it's in the meeting minutes anyways, because we need to okay any.
exactly. That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
no, that doesn't touch until
Yeah.
you guys make a decision. That's right.
Will this include construction administration or not?
I'm sorry.
Construction administration or the phases for construction documentation?
Great question. So this is, the MSBA program think of it as in two phases. You have this, and then that's in two phases. Think of a construction project is in 5. You got your schematic design, and then you got your bidding, and then you got your construction, and your construction administration, and your closeout. The MSBA has an agreement with you to the end of schematic design. And then, so that's what this is basically running to. Once we get that approved, and once we submit our schematic design to them and they approve it to go forward for the remainder, then we'll have the remainder of the design development, construction documents, and then CA, and then close out after that.
That will be phase 2.
Exactly, phase 2. And then the spreadsheet will go on the 2 pages.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be tracking that. But, yeah, no good question. Anything from anyone else? Just, yeah, so we've mentioned bid docs. I hope it's working for you guys. The intent is, long ball here, right? 5 years, at least, this project is going to be around. Jonathan made a good point too, that another good reason, knock on wood, people come and go. Life happens, right? And so we now, instead of just, someone new comes on board, he never got the email, but at least it'll live on bid docs. So they can always have it. So this will be a nice, if you ever need anything, you don't need to go through the emails necessarily. You just go right through. To that end, we have an online project calendar. That's where, so if you're wondering what's going on with the project, that's always up to date, and I even have forecasted dates going forward. Some things change. In fact, we were just discussing a change now, where I forecasted a few of the SBC meetings beyond February, and they're starting to conflict with Finance Committee. So we're probably going to switch to like a first and a third options, and I'll update that. So, but that's where we want you to,
You'll still receive an invitation from Melissa,
That's right.
but you can always look at the calendar, look to the
ahead.
calendar. So I've asked James to put placeholders in for first and third. It's unlikely we'll have to meet twice a month, at least initially, but the placeholders will be first and third. Wednesday.
Yes.
Right.
So we haven't met in a while, so bear with me. I'll let you know what we've done to date, what today was, and then where we'll go from here. So way back on November 19th, the RFS went live, and we had in total 50 various firms, so not just architects, but also engineers, even a few CMs and other folks requested the RFS. They wanted to see what the project was about. The day before Thanksgiving, we had the designer briefing session. We had 10 firms show up. Again, it was interesting, many architecture firms, and a couple of sub-consultants looking to see who the architecture firms were that they might want to hook up with. December 10th, we had questions due. There were no questions. That's always good. And December 17th, today, 3 p.m., we received the submissions, and we received 5. So there was 5 in alphabetical. Go ahead.
Quick question, is it normal to only get 5?
Yes. It's we've had, for this size of a project, that is perfectly fine. You don't want, the reality is that this school is complex in the sense that it's, 1, it's a high school, 2, it's vocational that they're adding. That limits the number of firms that have experience doing those 2 things. So the 5 that we got is actually pretty darn good, considering that. Historically, if you looked at the vocational schools in Massachusetts, I can tell you, 3 of them gets like 90% of the work. And we have 2+. I can explain later, but anyway. Definitely, I like what we've received so far, and those have already, Melissa sent to me the submissions. Those are now online at BidDocs. I think you got a notification today.
Yeah.
So you guys can review it, and you can see what they provide, and you start making judgments for yourself.
Remembering that we don't make this selection.
Yes, I'll get into
Okay,
that.
all right.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. I have a few documents that I'm about to show you. They're all example documents, because clearly I haven't done any between 3 o'clock and now. I haven't been able to get to it, so don't be confused, and I'll also try to give you the timeline of when they're coming. And to Jonathan's point, it seems limited, but there are points where we touch the process, so that's what I want to fill you in on. This is the reference checks. Now, so after we shortlist, so let me back up, I guess. We got the submissions today. I need to submit these over to the MSBA by the day after Christmas, December 26th. What fun. And then our next meeting, and then the MSBA will distribute that to the designer selection panel, and we'll all meet, the 3 of you here, and the 12 plus of them over there will meet on January 12th. January 13th, sorry.
13th, I
Something
think.
like that.
I think it's the 15th.
At that time, they were going to, someone at the MSBA will provide a high-level overview of each submission, and there will be a question and answer period after each one, and then there will be a ranking at the very end of that, and we will shortlist. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5, depending on what the group decides. And at that point, then we will do the reference checks, and that's what you're seeing here. And so there's basic questions that you ask. How's on their last project? This really is a project check. On your last project, how are they in terms of communication, their budget control, document quality, schedule control. So you have a template you can fill out and then standardize for each reference that you call.
And if I could just interject, we will be meeting January 14th, the next day, at which point we'll get an update of what happens at that ranking, et cetera. So that will be our next meeting, 6 o'clock here. It isn't the first or third, but it will be the last of the second Wednesdays.
But it's immediately after the Tuesday when we meet, so
Right.
it'll be a great time to meet.
Right.
How do we get references? How do we fill this out? Like you saying that we're getting references from each of these firms who are submitted to us?
They have references in their submissions,
Okay.
and usually the OPM subcommittee group will just assign okay, you call these guys, and whatnot. That's how it works. Just another form that the MSBA asks us to fill out. This is the sub-consultants with each And, you know, and the colored boxes is whether or not they're MBE, WBE. So, you know, go ahead.
What does that mean?
Okay. MBE is Minority Business
Entity.
Okay.
Enterprise, thank you. And W is for women.
Yeah, okay,
Women business
thank you.
owned. So the women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, and the Massachusetts has goals that they set.
Yeah.
And they ask the architects to meet those.
Thank you.
I did the 30,000-foot flyover of the 5, and I noticed 2 of them were WBA entities, 2 of the architecture firms.
Yeah.
I didn't, just 2 of them jumped out. I didn't drill down, so there may be more, but at least 2 of them are.
So we'll be filling that out. And then, this is kind of a form that I like. It's just kind of an internal score sheet that I don't know if I mentioned it in the past, but, you know, what's the team's experience in the past 5 years? You know, how many MSBA projects have they won? You know, things like that. How many vocational projects have they won? How many high schools have they done? How local are they? You know, if they, you know, someone in Springfield, did they apply? You know, I don't, they didn't, but, you know, so there's things you want to look at. You know, what's the relevant cost of their projects that they've performed versus the cost of this? You know, and things like that. So I'll be, once I get these submissions, I'll start to be filling this out, and then I'll provide that to you so you guys can see. You can do the reading yourself too, but I'm also providing a cheat sheet.
Well, let me ask you, James,
Yep.
when you're filling that out, for certain things, I would assume you may know more than what they would put into the package. Are you including that, or are you just going through their package in terms of what they've said? In other words, there may have been a project that they didn't reference, that you're aware that they did or didn't do.
Yes, yes. If that's the case, then yes, we have that power as an owner to look beyond what was provided as well. So yes, that is fair. So I've shown you this slide in the past. What's new here is it's been official, the 3 groups named who their representatives are going to be. So it's Chris Wilson for the school committee, Craig will be for the superintendent, and Mike Walsh for the CEO of City Towns, you know, designee. Those 3 members will be at that January 13th meeting, and they will be our ambassadors, you know, our representatives, and ones to be asking questions, officially asking questions, and at the end, actually providing scores, you know, on who and to rank the firms 1 through 5. You know,
Where was that held?
Oh, sorry.
online. It'll be a Zoom meeting. Yes.
And our 3 members are voting members?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. And this is just to refresh, who else is in the room with you? You know, so this is the other board members.
And again, this will all be on bid docs. You'll be able to get all this.
There's nothing, you know, any advice I would give you for this is, you know, they're used to this. They've been doing, you know, they come every 2 weeks, so, you know, they want to have a good pairing, you know, so they really do want to listen to the district and be thoughtful. They're going to have their own opinions too, as people always do. You know, they're going to read through and think something was great for us and why. That's their job, but more or less they are thoughtful if we present our thoughts to them, you know, in a good manner. I think I've already discussed this about, how the voting works. So I'll skip over that.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you just mentioned they'll listen to us if we have, like, a preference or?
And they'll just read between the lines, you know, so you'll make a comment, like, I really like this architect's, you know.
So the 3 members,
Can speak.
Can speak,
And make
okay.
comments on, yes. So imagine Tape, you know, one of them, Carl Brown usually, is the one who will read out a general summary about them. I don't know, they created themselves.
Sure.
And then they open it up for discussion, and then they go around, each one of the members of the panel say something, and then they finally let the district allow to say something. And so we could, usually by then, all the points have been made, but if we have a point to make, we could say, or you would even say, yes, we agree with X, Y, Z, that this is important to, basically this is important to us, or we have a concern with X, Y, and Z because of something.
Okay, so we're entrusting our 3 members to represent our voice in this committee, and they can, okay, great, thanks.
Correct. Yes. This is just a reminder of what the selection criteria was. What the official, selection criteria was. And so, yes, I won't read all that, we've already discussed it. We're trying to shortlist so that we can then interview the following 2 weeks. So that's where we're at.
And the last date would be shortlisting and effectively selecting, because
Yes.
you'd shortlist an order, and you would begin negotiation with whoever is number 1. If you're not successful, you'd move on to number 2, if I understand that properly.
Correct.
I don't know how often that happens, but, and based upon that, we would be expecting to meet the first Wednesday in February, which is about a week and a half later, at which point we would welcome our
Yes.
designer.
Yes. Yep.
And that's just,
Yeah, so on
just
that
to put a date on it, it's February 4th, February 4th.
On the 27th, there could be 3
Yeah.
interviews. They'll go and be long. It's limited, I think, to 30-minute interviews or 40, I forget what it is, for 3 interviews, that's be quite a bit of time. But then at the end of that, there's again discussion and question, or question and answers, and then by the end of that, they'll rank, and then they'll select. And by the ranking, there'll be 1, 2, 3.
And the interviews, are they gonna be the same people that voted representing?
Yes, the same one from 2 weeks prior.
They'll
The
do
one's
the
familiar with
process.
information. Yeah.
Okay.
James, obviously, we've gotten the applications, there's 5 applications.
Yep.
Everybody on this committee has the ability to review those applications. 3 of us will represent the committee. How do you foresee the information from, the 13 other members kind of funneling down to the 3 of us?
That's a good question. So the MSBA only has the only limitation they have is that you guys cannot rank. So we could potentially have a meeting and just sit here and discuss.
But we couldn't say, we want these 3.
That's right. We could do
Okay.
everything
Yeah.
but that.
But that, okay.
I've been thinking, I'm not sure that the 3 can meet without posting it as a subcommittee meeting.
Right.
Because it is all 3 are members of this body, therefore, just coincidentally, they didn't have to be, it could have been others. But coincidentally, so if you want to meet, you need to post it if the 3 want to meet. If you want to just do it and accept email through James, for example, questions or comments.
Yes, that's another option.
That might be the best way, is anybody has feedback, send it to James, and it will get posted for everybody.
Exactly.
Again, bid docs being a one-way street.
Right.
It doesn't violate any open meeting law issues. So I think that might be the best way, rather than, that way everybody sees it. And it might pique someone else's thoughts regarding the same topic. So let's just do it that way.
Okay.
Anybody has any feedback on any of the 5, after review, send it to James as a document to be posted.
I'll create a running list of comments.
Yeah, Yeah, again, there's a catch-all at the end. Is it called, what's the last column?
Miscellaneous. yeah.
Miscellaneous, whatever. That's
Yeah, missed out.
where everything is going to be, but as James mentioned earlier, we talked about it for quite some time. There will be turnover on this board before the building is open.
It's a long
And the-
process.
The simplest thing was to have everything in one repository, rather than try to recreate email threads for whoever the new person is. There it is. Everything's there. Start at the beginning and go through it. It's all there.
One final thing I just want to put in your mind. After the shortlisting, so on the 13th, the MSBA, actually, someone on their side actually listens pretty decently to the comments that everyone has made, and they come up with proposed interview questions, and they will submit them to the district and say, this is what we heard, this is what we came up with, and what do you guys think? And anyway, so you have an opportunity to ask, you have an opportunity to touch the questions you're asking. I mean, everything except number 5. Provide examples of choices made in specifying systems such as like, that's a standard question to ask everybody. He said, so, don't touch that. But, other things were, describe how you and your educational programming specialist. These are questions, for example, from the Agawam High School that were specific to those, after we went through and shortlisted them, this is what we came back and thought were some of the themes that were coming out that the district might want to have more insight into and ask the interviewees about. So, I think that is it. Yeah, that is it, guys.
Any questions for James regarding this process? Okay. And the next item on the agenda is school committee update. Is there anything?
No update.
No updates.
Nothing? Okay. Any old business? Any new business? We're looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Carmen, should be you. One of the two Michaels got the second.
That's right.
All those in favor? One of the three Michaels, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
All right, it's unanimous.
Excellent.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see everyone on January 14th.
Wasn't sure.